Thank you. Thank you. Michael Jackson. I have a little bit more to say than that. Okay, here we go again. Michael Jackson was born in August 1958. So was I. Michael Jackson grew up in the suburbs of the Midwest. So did I. Michael Jackson had 8 brothers and sisters. So do I. When Michael Jackson was 6, he became a superstar and was perhaps the world's most beloved child. When I was 6, my mother died. I think he got the shorter end of the stick. I never had a mother, but he never had a childhood. And when you never get to have something, you become obsessed by it. I spent my childhood searching for my mother figures. Sometimes I was successful. But how do you recreate your childhood when you are under the magnifying glass of the world for your entire life? There is no question that Michael Jackson was one of the greatest talents the world has ever known. That when he sang a song at the ripe old age of 8, he could make you feel like an experienced adult was squeezing your heart with his words. That the way he moved had the elegance of Fred Astaire and packed the punch of Muhammad Ali. That his music had an extra layer of inexplicable magic that didn't just make you want to dance, but actually made you believe that you could fly, dare to dream, be anything that you wanted to be. Because that is what heroes do, and Michael Jackson was a hero. He performed in soccer stadiums around the world. He sold hundreds of millions of records. He dined with prime ministers and presidents. Girls fell in love with him. Boys fell in love with him. Everyone wanted to dance like him. He seemed otherworldly, but he was also a human being. Like most performers, he was shy and plagued with insecurities. I can't say we were great friends, but in 1991 I decided I wanted to try and get to know him better. I asked him out to dinner. I said, "My treat, I'll drive, just you and me." He agreed and showed up to my house without any bodyguards. We drove to the restaurant in my car. It was dark out, but he was still wearing sunglasses. I said, "Michael, I feel like I'm talking to a limousine. Do you think you could take off those glasses so I can see your eyes?" He paused for a moment. Then he tossed the glasses out the window, looked at me with a wink and a smile and said, "Can you see me now? Is that better?" In that moment, I could see both his vulnerability and his charm. The rest of the dinner, I was hell-bent on getting him to eat French fries, drink wine, have dessert, and say bad words. Things he never seemed to allow himself to do. Later, we went back to my house to watch a movie, and we sat on the couch like 2 kids. And somewhere in the middle of the film, his hand snuck over and held mine. It felt like he was looking for a friend more than a romance. And I was happy to oblige him. And in that moment, he didn't feel like a superstar. He felt like a human being. We went out a few more times together, and then for one reason or another, we fell out of touch. Then, the witch hunt began. And it seemed like one negative story after the other was coming out about Michael. I felt his pain. I know what it's like to walk down the street and feel like the whole world is turned against you. I know what it's like to feel helpless and unable to defend yourself because the roar of the lynch mob is so loud that you are convinced your voice can never be heard. But I had a childhood, and I was allowed to make mistakes and find my own way in the world without the glare of the spotlight. When I first heard that Michael had died, I was in London, days away from the opening of my tour. Michael was going to perform in the same venue as me a week later. All I could think about in that moment was, I had abandoned him, that we had abandoned him, that we had allowed this magnificent creature that once set the world